Do you remember Doritos Crash Course? I'm assuming so since you just clicked on this video. I recently happened upon this old video script that was virtually complete, so I decided to cash in on this easy video. A few years back I installed the game by chance. I was in an Xbox party chat with my friend Tinted Visions, channel link in the description, and we were bored. Neither of us had the same games installed, so I decided to look for the games I own digitally, looking for something that we both could play. That's when I came across Doritos Crash Course and installed it. Now, I thought I'd play this game for about an hour, but that's when this game shocked me at just how enjoyable it was. At face value, this game looks unappealing, but when you actually play it, especially with a friend, it can get really addicting. Me and Tinted Visions ended up playing for hours. The game itself is simple. It's Total Wipeout, the game, which was a show where contestants would have to do extreme obstacle races while being timed. So, Doritos Crash Course is basically like that, but on steroids. It makes for good attention-grabbing gameplay, as you'll need to focus if you want to do well at the game. The game is fundamentally split into two components, so let's get into the video. Structure. The game is split up into 6 different maps, including DLC. The main 3 maps are USA, Europe, and Japan. They basically act as easy, medium, and hard for the game. The DLC is Las Vegas, London, and Japan easy. They act like a go-between in the difficulty sense for the main 3 maps. So, the difficulty ranking from easy to hard would be USA, Las Vegas, Europe, London, Japan easy, and then finally Japan. Once you select a map, it's then broken into 5 different levels. This is good, since it's basically a speedrunning game. The levels are going to be fairly short. Of course, that depends on how short the player makes them. Some people can do a level in 30 seconds, while others could take 10 minutes. That's an incredibly important factor, as no matter how bad you are at the beginning, you can become good. This helps keep the game fun. I'm going to go through the maps and basically break them down. Starting with USA, it's basically the player's introduction to the game. It tells players the controls and teaches players to deal with certain situations. It's the basic experience of the game. But moving on past that, it gets slightly more difficult. The Las Vegas map is probably the most fun to play, as it won't make you sweat, but it's challenging enough. Europe is where the difficulty starts to ramp up. The levels are slightly longer and the game starts to reveal its evil side. London is the map where the chicken button starts to get appealing. The chicken button is basically the top out button for this game, as the option to press it appears after multiple fails throughout the level. When pressing the button, your character teleports to the next checkpoint and your timer will stop counting, as you've basically chickened out of the level. Don't let Japan easy fool you. It's definitely not easy by any means. I think it took me the longest to clear out of any of the maps, and after playing through Japan, I can understand why they made a nerfed version of it. It is without doubt one of the most difficult things I've ever completed. The formula is what makes the game tick. Without this, it would be such a boring experience. There are 3 medals that you can get in a level for each map. Those 3 medals are bronze, silver, and gold. These medals are given depending on how quick you finish the level. Me and Tinted Visions got addicted to the gameplay simply because we wanted to do better than each other, which pushed us to get the gold medal in the best possible time for each level. The game is truly at its best when you have friends to play with. A good feature was that you could see your friends' times with your own to see where you ranked. This really encouraged me to keep playing the game and get better, which I did. I ended up getting gold on all levels. I had the best time out of all my friends on Xbox, and honestly, that was an incredibly painful experience to do. I never thought Doritos Crash Course could make me rage that much, but it also led to some satisfying moments. When I would finally overcome each level and get a different achievement, this game kept me playing by the simple fact that the more I played, the better I got. That's the difference between older games and modern games. I had to earn my gold medals. I couldn't just buy them and be done. This is why so many games fail nowadays. They alienate their player base by forcing them into a corner of having to do some of the most arduous tasks ever to get the smallest things, while they dangle that same thing over the player's head with the option to buy it with real money. It's pathetic, and most people are sick of it, especially with these companies that have the gall to charge full price for games that are devoid of content to begin with. This is why free-to-play games do so well. People don't get angry because game companies use free-to-play as an excuse to implement awful microtransactions into games. Apologies for the angry tangent. Moving on. In conclusion, Doritos Crash Course was an above-average game with plenty of potential. Not that it was supposed to be some sort of blockbuster, it was an Xbox 360 arcade game, so in that sense, it massively overperformed. What disappoints me most is they did nothing with it after the fact. They had a sleeper hit and they killed it. Doritos Crash Course 2 released in May 2013, and just over a year later it was delisted. This was due to lack of players and the remaining popularity of the first game, which is still available today on the Xbox Store. The reason that nobody played the game was because they changed the winning formula rather than innovate from the original. As well as that, they added microtransactions. It seems to be what Xbox is best at these days, being a disappointment. I would describe them as self-destructive. Ever since the launch of the Xbox One, it's been L after L after L. As Jose Mourinho would say,
You know, he is a specialist in failure.
in terms of the future, if Xbox wanted to bring back this title, they very much could. Behavior Interactive is still operating, probably still churning out new characters for Dead by Daylight, or they could give the IP to one of the many studios they own. The most obvious innovation would be expanding the main content, including more countries, adding new obstacles in the levels, as well as actually rewarding players for achieving the gold medal. There could be various challenges or events to encourage player interactivity. They could make the game more appealing visually for multiplayer sessions, maybe actually having your friend's avatar on the course with yours, instead of just having a cardboard cutout fly alongside your avatar. Speaking of avatars, please don't use the awful modern Xbox avatars. Keep the 360 ones, or maybe have unique character models to the game instead of avatar. I'd take a look at the likes of Fall Guys and use that as inspiration, since they would be considered the same genre, as there is definitely a market for games like these. After getting all the achievements, for a final rating of Doritos Crash Course, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. As the core gameplay was very fun, it ran its course rather quickly, no pun intended. Anyways, do you think Xbox should bring back Doritos Crash Course? Leave a comment and tell me what you think. As always, thank you for watching. See you next time.